Hey, I'm Dark North. In this video, I'll be talking about how to do the Spiral Abyss floor 1 to 8, and I'll be sharing some tips and tricks to help you guys clear this if you haven't already and if you're a new player. The purpose of this video isn't to show if it's doable or not at what AR or levels or talents or with what characters I'm using, but to show you how the mechanics work and how to counter them. For Spiral Abyss, you don't build teams to tackle the entire thing at once, but you build around a specific floor or chamber or even a side of a chamber depending on the enemies, buffs, and debuffs. Your character stats get locked once you start a chamber, so changing anything on them will not have an effect unless you abandon challenge and start over. There is a overall abyssal buff or debuff that changes every reset that affects all floors, so keep an eye on that and try and take advantage or counter it. If you 3-star a chamber once, it gets locked, so you can focus on one chamber at a time and then leave and come back with another team for another chamber, or swap sides, or charge all your bursts first before going into the next floor. So starting with floor 1, it is basically a DPS check, and I don't think anyone should have any problems with this, even if you know absolutely nothing about the game and you've just started the Spiral Abyss at AR 20. So just use Pyro and abuse the Pyro damage and overload damage buff, and you shouldn't have any issues clearing this. Moving on to floor 2, the biggest hurdle is probably the Hydro Abyss Mage. Fastest way to break his shield is to use Cryo. Pretty much most cryo characters you should not have any problems with. Kaya, which is a free character, should also be enough to break the Hydro Abyss Mage shield. The cryo damage buff will also help you out if you use a cryo character. In Chamber 3, be sure to kill the Hydro Samatril first as he heals his allies. For floor 3, we have increased swirl damage and its AoEs, so be sure to use an Animo character. And if you don't have any Animo characters, you can always use Animo main character. If you swirl, you can also break all the slime shields at once by swirling elements off of the other slimes. The biggest hurdle here is probably the Ruin Guards in Chamber 3, so focus on the Ruin Guard as the Meteor will follow you and take collateral damage. Ruin Guards have fixed easy attack patterns, so you should be able to dodge them with some practice. When he starts to spin, make sure to run away. Do not try to tank the spin. So let's move on to floor 4. Here we have electro damage and electro charge damage increase, so try and take advantage of that. Use electro characters, use hydro characters, and try and trigger electro charge to have a easier time. Also make sure to bring a cryo character to break the Hydro Abyss Mage shield, as he will be very annoying without that. In Chamber 3, also be sure to kill Hydro Samatril first as he heals his allies. Now moving on to floor 5. This is the first time you're going to have to use 2 teams of 4 each. The buffs reward you for being almost full health, so try and bring a healer here to take advantage of that and keep your health high. In Chamber 1 first half, one of the large cryo slime has a cryo aura and it will spawn ice cage on you periodically, so try and kill that one first. Be sure to have pyro on team 1. Second half, one of the pyro mages will have pyro aura, which if you get inflected by, you will start taking tick pyro damage over time unless cleansed by someone like Barbara, Jean, or Xingqiu or Kokomi. The Pyro Abyss Mage shields can be broken fastest by using Hydro attacks, so be sure to keep a Hydro character on the second half. Chamber 2, both sides, is a bunch of treasure hoarders, and Chamber 3 has an electro-assisted mage on first half whose shield can be broken with Pyro and Cryo the fastest. Second half has a Pyro agent who takes increased physical damage, so try and abuse that if you can. He also moves a lot and goes invisible, so if you're having trouble, use some form of crowd control like Animo or Freeze. He also has Pyro resistance, so avoid using Pyro if possible. Now let's move on to floor 6. Here you're rewarded for using elemental bursts constantly, and at max stacks it's around 60% attack and defense, so you might want to run some ER on your characters for this floor. In Chamber 2 first half, be sure to kill the Hydro Samatril first as he heals his allies. The biggest hurdle will probably be the Stonehide Lava Troll in Chamber 3 first half, or the 3 Pyro Abyss Mages and Pyro Slimes in the second. Make sure to kill the Geo Samatril quickly, as he will elevate his allies up on pillars. Unless you're using an archer range character, then it doesn't really matter. If he does raise his pillars, they can be broken with Geo damage or Claymore hits or Overload, which is also how you break the Stonehide Lava Troll's shield. For second half, Barbara is your best friend for healing, cleansing, and breaking shields. So now let's move on to floor 7. This might be a bit of a bottleneck for a lot of people, as it was for me. The buff here is very hefty though, 120% crit damage. So make sure your characters have crit rate. Use crit weapons if you have them, and use crit rate circlets on all of your damaging characters, even if it breaks that bonus, to reach at least 50% crit rate to take advantage of that crit damage buff. We have the Fatui big boys here. In Chamber 1 first half, take out the Hydro Gunner first as he heals his allies. You can break his Hydro shield fastest with Electro followed by Cryo. The Electro Fatui shield can be broken the fastest by Cryo, and the Cryo Fatui shield can be broken fastest by Pyro. If they are together, you can also use Swirl to break their shields. For second half, the Fatui Animal Boxer will shield his friend, and if you use an element to attack him, he will suck you in and punch you. This can be dodged with an iframe or using a shield. This doesn't get triggered by geo damage or physical damage. Pyro Fatui shield can be broken by Hydro. Chamber 2 first and second half has Geo Fatui, whose shields can be broken by geo damage, claymore hits, or overload. In Chamber 3 first half, once again, kill the Hydro Fatui first as he heals his friends. And now we have the last floor, floor 8. This is the last chamber you have to complete before you can do floor 9 to 12, where you can farm Primo Gems every rotation. Here you are rewarded if you stay low HP, so try and stay low HP if possible and use shields instead of healers if you have them to take advantage. Otherwise, you would have to just DPS check this one if you want to stay full HP and use a healer. Chamber 1 first half, the Hydro Abyss Mage inflicts flowing water on you, which increases cooldowns, which is very annoying, so try and take him out first as fast as possible. Again, use Swirl if they are together to break both the Hydro and Cryo Abyss Mage shields at the same time. In the second half, there is a Pyro Mage with Pyro Aura, so use a cleanser like Barbara if you get inflicted by it, or just kill it quickly, forehead. In Chamber 2 first half, there is a Cryo Leyline that will buff the enemy's defense by a lot if they're covered in Cryo, so use Pyro to remove this buff from the enemies before attacking them. In second half, there is a Pyro Leyline which does the exact same thing, so here use Hydro to remove the buff from the enemies. Second chamber has a Ruin Guard on both sides and ranged Hilichurls, and if you're having trouble killing the Ruin Guard and if you keep getting interrupted, you can take the ranged ones out first before focusing on the Ruin Guards. Chamber 3 has the Cryo Redis Wine in the first half and Pyro Redis Wine in the second half. Use Pyro on first half and Hydro on second to break their weak spots. And that's floor 1 to 8 of the Spiral Abyss. You might have a hard time depending on your AR. The higher your adventure rank and the longer you've played the game, the easier this is going to be. So if you're having a hard time now, just come back later, and after leveling some more, you'll have a much easier time. Just remember, at the end of the day, it's just a game and there is no need to mold too much over the Abyss if you don't enjoy it. That's it with this video. If you found this helpful, consider leaving a like, and if you have any questions, you can leave them down below. And if you want to see more stuff like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.